Epic Listicles. Some things you should know about the Spanish flu pandemic. Hello, I'm Ange, and this is Epic Listicles. If you're alive and watching this, then you're either currently in the middle of the worst pandemic the modern world has ever seen, or we've made it through and this is an old list. Congratulations! Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Winston Churchill, 1948. What did we learn from the previous modern day pandemics that spread through the world and continue to do so this day, like HIV and AIDS? The Spanish flu, as it was named for slightly nefarious reasons, is one example of history that maybe we should have learned more from. And what we did learn probably saved hundreds of thousands of lives today from COVID-19 as it ravishes the entire world. So let's get on with a few things you should know about the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu traveled the world in 4 waves from 1918 to 1920. The complete death toll is estimated to be between 17 and 50 million people, making it the deadliest pandemic in human history at the time. 10. Imagine 1/3 of the world infected. That's what it was between the years of 1918 and 1920. The Spanish flu infected about 500 million people. 9. The World War I propaganda machine named it the Spanish flu because none of the forces battling it out in World War I wanted the other side to know how bad the flu was affecting them. No one admitted it was going on, except neutral Spain. Because of this honesty during a pandemic, the country that sounded the alarm was the name given to the virus, the Spanish flu. 8. What and where did the virus come from? Spanish flu is an avian origin H1N1 virus. It is believed that the virus originated in birds, moved to swine, and then made the hop to humans in, of all places, Kansas. In 2003, the origin of the Spanish flu pandemic was found to be Haskell County, Kansas. 7. Who got the virus? Haskell County is in rural Kansas farming country. It is at one of these rural farms that raised pigs that farmhands first contracted the then unknown, unidentified virus and then passed it on. 6. The Spanish flu pandemic might have been avoided if the world had listened to the very same advice being given today in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Don't gather in groups. Open air is healthier. Keep windows open. Cover your nose and mouth with a barrier, like a face mask. Wash your hands often and well. And, of course, if there had not been a war, perhaps it wouldn't have spread so fast. 5. What was the role of the military in spreading the flu? Along with the Selective Service of 1917, the draft, men from all over the country were put together in army camps, in dormitories, and trained. When the military put these men on boats with our allies, shoulder to shoulder in some cases, off to fight in trench combat against the enemies, one has to wonder, looking back, was that the plan all along? Some germ warfare? Has the Spanish flu made a reappearance? The Spanish flu is an H1N1 virus. Since the appearance of the Spanish flu, there have been a few variations. The most recent H1N1 virus was known as the swine flu, and that occurred from 2009 to 2010 and killed more than 12,000 people. That's a drop in the bucket compared to today. 3. Did the Spanish flu have anything to do with China like COVID does today? Prior to being traced to Kansas, strains of the Spanish flu were traced to America, Europe, and some parts of Asia. Those strains spread around the world, too. Were you immune after surviving the Spanish flu? Recently, studies have been conducted on many people that survived the Spanish flu pandemic to determine if they have maintained the antibodies developed for the flu when it occurred. The studies have been positive, but in a very specific group. Those people that were exposed to the Spanish flu around the ages of 10 or 11. Perhaps science can develop a vaccine. Number 1. What were the symptoms? The symptoms were different for the separate waves of the pandemic that circled the globe. In the first wave, it seemed much like any other flu. Chills, fatigue, fever, and then recovery in a week or so. By the time the second wave came around the world, vengeance beeth thy name. People would die within days, sometimes hours. They would develop bacterial pneumonia, and the body would be deprived of oxygen. The person would slowly turn blue, drowning in the fluid that filled their lungs. These are a few things you should probably know about the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. Thank you for watching Epic Listicles. See you next time.